What's happening, Fight Week Show fans? You will not believe what the cat has dragged in. We have Modestas, Bukauskas here. Big Muddy, how you doing, my brother?
Yeah, doing very good, my man. Thank you so much for having me on, mate.
No, man, I'm so glad that you're here, bro. For the amount of times I've reached out to you, what you had going on, how busy you are, because you were just about to jump in the fight when we reached out. You said, you know what, I see you guys, but give me a chance. Let me just done with this fight, and I'm going to pull up on the Fight Week Show, man. So thank you for sticking to your word, your man of your word, and yeah, we sat right here with you. How's life treating you, man, after the fight?
Yeah, good, pretty good. I have to admit, I probably ate a little bit too much food post-fight, probably more than I should have. Put on a little bit of poundage. I didn't go too crazy, but I had a bit of drink, had a bit of food. I still trained a little, not quite as intensely. I really wanted to get straight back into it, and then I did one day full on my two training sessions, everything like that, and then bloody hell, I started straining in my muscles and stuff like that. I'm like, what is going on? Why is my body breaking down already? So I was like, all right, cool. We'll take it a little bit easy. I'll do one session here, one session there. So it was nice and relaxed. But yesterday back on it fully, today back on it fully, and just now. It's about staying ready, staying in shape, and getting ready for whatever comes next.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy to hear that you're even back on the horse, back in the cage, back training. We all saw the unfortunate oblique kick that happened with the Khalil Rountree fight, but we're going to come on to that later. I want to congratulate you on your unanimous decision victory on Lee Chadwick. Cage Warriors 145. That's got to be something special for you, having gone through what you went through and just getting back in competition mode. Were you happy with your performance, and is there anything that you wish you'd have done better or did differently, if you like, on your performance there?
Yeah, 100%. I felt I could have done a lot better, to be honest with you. Every fight, I feel like I'm only showing 50 to 70% of what I know I can do, but it's understandable. This comes with the territory of competition and competing at the highest level, to be able to bring those attributes out, and it's kind of been the same case, especially through the UFC career and stuff like that. But Lee Chadwick is he's a very tough guy, very experienced, great fighter, great guy. And obviously it was a pretty tough fight to take back, first fight back after 14 months, but I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. It was a very emotional moment for me because considering a lot of people thought that this injury was career ending, everyone said, oh, he's never coming back. Even when I posted videos of me doing backflips and stuff like that, people were still like, nah, he's never coming back. I'm like, do you lot not see this? Do you know what I mean? But obviously I know it was less about proving to everyone else. I knew myself what I can do, and I've definitely leveled up massively to where I was before. So now my skill sets feel really refined, and I actually felt pretty comfortable in there. As in, usually people say, oh, nerves and this and that, but actually when I got in there, I felt pretty calm. I felt good. I felt the arena. I felt the crowd. I felt pretty good. It's just a case of just firing more and doing more of my skill set. But at the end of the day, I needed to get the win. I couldn't take so many risks because I knew I needed to get the job done. So I kind of just pulled back a little bit, but I still wanted to land my shots, defend the takedowns. So there were things that I done good, things that I didn't do so good, but these are things that we're gonna make sure that we eradicate and make sure we put into the next performance.
Fantastic. It's so great to hear that. I mean, I know that you train out of BST Northampton. We've spoken to a few fighters in your gym, Denzel Chibonda, Lewis Senna, flyweight champion, even Molly Lindsay, big up Odin if you listen, Molly, big up Odin. Odin makes me laugh all the time. He's a cracking little character. What sets your gym apart from most gyms? Because for them to work with you and bring you back in the incredible shape that you're with. Obviously, you work with several other partners as well, but for that gym, what really sets them apart from the rest? If you like to tell our audience,
they actually care about me.
Right.
Like, obviously they they really connect well with my dad. My dad's obviously my head coach. So along with them, they're like my main coaches, and they work very well with my dad. They have a similar philosophy. They agree on a lot of things, and they kind of see eye to eye on a lot of different aspects. And that's what you need. Number one, you need that connection. So the connection's there. I'm really good friends with the coaches and the people there, and I feel like I'm at home. I'd left them for a period, and then I came back, and it felt the same. Like I felt like I wasn't an outsider. I felt like I was part of the family, and that was a big thing for me. They got a freaking amazing gym, 60,000 square foot. The coaching is very high level. They see things that other coaches do not see. This is one thing I noticed in comparison. There's always an explanation for certain things that you're doing, and it blends very well with what I need to do. And I've taken a much more open-minded approach to the game, and this is definitely blended again very well with their teachings and stuff like that. So they care about me. They're absolutely like high-level coaches, Raymond and Danny. I've got a really good training partner in Lucas Klinger as well, who's my size. He helps me out a hell of a lot, and all the other guys as well. It's just a really good place where you feel good, you train hard, and they're definitely very serious now. They're a lot more serious in their approach as well. And they just get you prepared the way that you need to. And like I say, these are all the ingredients that are needed to create a great fight team. So I'm very happy that I'm with them.
Fantastic. I mean, big up to everyone out of BS team, and big love for a lot of the fighters over there, man. And yeah, it's a great gym. So anybody in and around Northampton, because we live around Northampton as well. I actually live in Wellingborough, so which is about 10 miles away from Northampton. So anybody listening, BST is one of the gyms to go and sharpen your tools if you're out there listening. Coming out of UFC, right? It's probably one of your toughest losses, if you like. It's a tough one to take. But how did you mentally overcome that situation, that loss? Like you said, people were thinking you're never gonna come back. Even just seeing that, and people saying it's got to be tough, mentally to deal with. How did you overcome that? With people doubting it as well.
Oh yeah, it was a really harsh moment, because everything that could have possibly went wrong all at once.
Wow.
Leading into the Khalil fight, I had a pretty bad knee injury. I actually sent the MRI from prior to the fight, 10 weeks out, to my manager just to say, listen, I know I shouldn't have took this fight, but I wanted to. It's such a big opportunity. But he looked at the MRI, and the doctor even said to me, he said, listen, I know what, because he's been my knee doctor for a while now. Really, really good, Dr. Kakar, amazing guy. But so obviously he knew that the strength around the knee was good. So he's like, you can take the fight. It will hold, it should hold up, but we need to get it sorted.
Right.
I told my physio, Leanne, again, distinct physiotherapy, if anyone wants to go check her out. But the whole time, she's literally just her head in her hands thinking, what are you doing, mate? Like going out to Vegas with such a bad injury. But she just did what she had to do to help me to do the physio. She told me what I needed to do, what I didn't need to do. I ended up swimming a lot and not running at all, and stuff like that, having to change up my training. And then obviously we went into the fight, obviously me hoping that everything would stick together. Unfortunately, it didn't. I didn't expect that kick to even be a thing, but then it happened. So fair play to him. As I was jabbing, got the kick. But yeah, I mean, straight after the fight, emotions were all over the place, because I knew that even though the fight against Olekiejczuk, a lot of people thought I won that fight, and I thought I won that fight as
I
well.
thought you won that fight too.
If you look at the judging criteria now, it's done on damage, so not on forward pressure. And all he did was forward pressure. He was getting hit in the face. I almost finished him in the first, almost finished him in the second. And for some will of God for him, he managed to get the win. And, you know, that potentially could have kept my job at the UFC. And, you know, so obviously that was a big one for me. I'm like, you know, I knew I had to win this. And then another thing, you hear that Khalil had basically had a resurgence himself. So I was on the lowest and he was on the up. And now he's gone on a 3-fight win streak, you know. So I faced the top of the you know, the guy at his peak, you know what I mean? At him at his best. And, you know, unfortunately, that's what happened. And it was very annoying for me, I'd say, at the beginning more than anything, is that Modestas, you've got all these skills, just why are you just not doing it in the fight? Is it mentally? Is it like, what's going on? And then you're kind of, you know, I had the operation, one of the most painful operations I've had in my life. They had so much, they literally fit a lot of stuff. Like my physio, she came to watch the operations just so she could get a better idea of how to help me. And she saw it, she's like, this is the most intricate thing I've ever seen in my life. They literally had rods and things going every which way in my knee. And it was insane. They literally did like 3 or 4 different things in one operation. And I woke up and I remember the first thing I said was, give me more morphine. I need it, like, because it was, oh mate, if I could scale it on 1 to 10 in terms of pain, it's probably like a 12. It was bad. Like, I swear to God, I thought, I've had knee surgeries before. I felt good afterwards. You know, I have the little medication. I feel good. This one is a complete. It was bad. And then obviously you throw up a lot because of the medication and stuff like that. So like I felt like I'd really let myself down. I'd let my dad down. I let everyone else that was close to me down. You realise that not all the people that are close to you are actually close to you. You realize who your true friends are. You realize, you know, people who are actually going to come and visit you when they say they will, and who are going to call you and message you and stuff like that. So like I say, you really narrow down your field of who the real ones are. That's also upsetting in itself, realizing that people are not quite as nice as they'll seem,
as they make out to be.
One of which I'd say is that BST have always been by my side, so obviously I had to give them a lot of love, because they showed me a lot of love during everything, during wins, losses, no matter what. They're always there for me, as well as my dad and like a couple of other close friends. But for me to get back it was a slow process. I was definitely depressed for sure. Like, there's just a lot of times I just couldn't be happy. I tried to keep myself motivated by just doing like YouTube videos and trying to, we're working on what can we do outside the cage, that's, you know, and I still hadn't been cut yet. So I was just kind of like, okay, let's just keep positive, keep the vibes going, you know, this is going to make a hell of a story. And, you know, some days you feel good, sometimes you feel bad, but you always try and keep just working towards something. I ended up drinking a little bit just to kind of take away the pain of having to be in the real world. I just wanted to get out of the way of the real world, and you know, I ended up doing that a little bit whilst I was sitting there again with my leg in this freaking brace and everything. And then then I got the call that I got cut, and then that was probably the lowest of the low. Your leg's messed up, you're on crutches, and you've just been cut. So you know,
you don't get lower than that for a fighter anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, from that moment you burst out with a load of different emotions. Like I say, just like everything, you kind of let it out. It goes for like a couple of days, and then, you know, my dad was just like, well, we just need to get back. Like, just freaking train harder, be strong. You need to. He almost gave me a bit of tough love, and I appreciated that, because that's kind of what I needed. Because you can't just be upset and moping about. You need to freaking go for it. Then show people what you're all about. Then you know, if you say you're who you say you are, you need to go and show it. And I just didn't perform. So these are the things that were running through my head. But day by day, you know, week by week, month by month, just slowly improving, slowly getting better, working on my southpaw stance, working on things that I could control, and that just slowly motivated and made things better and better. And then as you get better and as things start, you know, like recuperating, another thing, I had to have a second operation because the knee needed a second thing. So it's like all these things just kept, but to get past all of that, you just need to always think. For me, it was like, imagine what it's going to be like. Be the hero of your own story. Like, imagine what it's going to be like when you come back and you absolutely kill it. And that just kept literally running through my head the whole time. Imagine a story, or like a book if you ever write one, or like a movie. Imagine like you've just been knocked down like this. What are people going to say when you come back? You get back to the UFC, you go and become champion. It's like, then all of this would have meant something. Do you know what I mean? Instead of
been worth it.
You know what I mean? Instead of, oh, the story ends here. Who the hell wants the story to end now? You know what I mean?
No.
We need to keep it going. And then that just kept me motivated. I had a lot of times where I was supposed to get a fight, then it didn't happen, then this, then that, and then, you know, it's just literally just me. I was already ready to fight from about May, and I couldn't get a fight. And then finally we signed with Cage Warriors, and then that's all she wrote. But yeah, it was a lot of dark times. People don't understand really how dark it was. Although I seemed on social media, oh, happy this, that, like it was not the time to for me, like personally, I was just like in a slump. And it's like, you're just waiting for you to recover. You know how long the road's going to be. You just want to get back. You're just looking by, seeing everything happen, and you're just sitting there on a standstill. But I've done this before on a smaller scale, so I think that also helped me for this on a much larger scale. So yeah, that's it.
I mean, the story you just told us, nobody could have, envisaged, this sort of agony and the pit that you was in, because that's rock bottom stuff. What you're just telling us, and to see you come back from there to 145 and do what you did is big props to you, man, and your team, your dad, the whole gym. Fantastic work for them, because you're just a finished product of the work, the amount of work that they put in. So kudos to those guys, man. Fantastic shout out to them. I wanted to ask you, having been through everything that you've been through now, what would it take for the UFC to come calling back for you? Because when I first noticed you on the scene, I mean, you was up there with like people like names like Tom Aspinall, Brendan Allen, all these guys, and were doing bits. I just thought, this is the next crop, and they're going right to the top. Obviously, unfortunate injuries happen, even to Tom. Shout out to Tom Aspinall, and just look at the type of injury that he got in a big high profile fight against someone like Curtis Blades. So these things does happen. Is how you bounce back, and you're living proof of that. But what does it take for what would you have to do for the UFC to be able to call you back and sign you up again?
Couple of big wins, mate. They already know who I am. They already know what I can do. They've seen what I've done against the likes of Mihalidis and Olekiejczuk. So they know that I've got it. It's just a case of just doing it, getting out there and showing it. I potentially could say maybe got there ahead of the time that I needed to be, but obviously I was very excited. I was on a high. I just beat a load of top European talent, so obviously for me I felt like I was on top of the world. But there's a couple of things that needed to be like slightly refined, and I showed already a lot of improvements in my last fight against Chadwick. There'll be even more improvements for the next fight, but it's, I think, a couple of wins, mate. I definitely think regaining the Cage Warriors belt would, since I've signed with them, that's already going to be the first point of call. And then once I do that, I mean, really the sky's the limit, mate. The light heavyweight division needs to be deeper, and they already know who I am, what I'm all about. So I know that will be my entry back in. So I'll take it day by day, fight by fight, So what I need to do is get the job done. Once I get the job done, then things can open up. So I'm just excited for the improvement that I've been making, and I'm excited to go and perform for everyone on the European team and get my name out there. Now it's time for finishes. I had my chance to get the foot back in the door, do what I have to do to get the win. Now it ain't about that. It's about going to get the finishes. So I believe that's what's going to get their attention again.
Fantastic. I mean, as an MMA fighter with with diverse skill set like you have, because I believe you're very very well rounded. What people just need to go and look at your win record and see all different ways that you finish a fight. Do you think total domination from bell to bell, or finishing a fight 30 seconds into the first round? What's your favorite way to finish a fight? Because we've seen you finish off in all different kind of ways, but which one's your favorite that gives you that satisfaction that, you know what, I love that finish?
I think I need to get another knockout, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I love submissions and stuff like that, and obviously the takedowns can come and TKOs are nice, but nothing's better than having like a knockout from a kick or a punch or something like that. When I knocked Hamlet down in the 4th round and then finished it on the floor, stuff like that's really satisfying. So I just want to get a big finish like that, either with a kick or a punch, and just give the fans a show, man. Like, this is like a storybook of your life. When you're a fighter, it's a storybook of your life, looking back at your fights and seeing what you've done and what you accomplished. And I want the highlight reel to be even more spectacular. So this is my chance to make the highlight reel. So what better way to make up the highlight reel than with some knockouts?
100%. If you had the power to take one thing out of MMA that you disagree with, what would it be? Something out of MMA that you don't like.
I think the judging needs to be a bit more universal. Not that I hold bitterness towards that decision against me, although maybe a little bit. But it's only because for example, it just that determines people's lives. These decisions that are made, right? If you look at the Sean O'Malley and Jan fight, he was on the back foot predominantly most of the fight, but he landed more damage, so that's why they gave him the win. He got taken down, but he got back up. But people say that Jan won that fight and stuff like that, and even O'Malley didn't even know really if he won that fight. But you look at it back,
Jan won that fight. What was your take on that decision?
Yeah, I personally thought Jan won that fight, but now I looked at it back, and this is what I'm saying: the judging criteria needs to be universal, because in terms of strikes landed and damage, Sean O'Malley technically had that. Obviously they both got rocked and stuff like that, but like you look at my fight with Olekiejczuk, it was a lot of, I landed more strikes and I landed more damage because I almost got the finish in the first and the second. So it's like, if you're looking at it from that perspective, so the judging needs to be, like, now it seems like takedowns are taking less of an impact, and it's more, like I say, about damage. Even guys that are on the back foot are now starting to get more respect from judges, and this is where I think there needs to be a clean cut, like everyone needs to be on the same page. Okay, one judge can't be like, oh, I think wrestling's better, and one judge can't be like, oh, I think striking's better. You know what I mean? They all need to be, okay, we're all understood here that it needs to be the same. And maybe it is, and maybe they're just trying to figure out the fine line, or maybe things are changing. I don't know what it is, but if there's anything that I could say that I would want it to be probably better, and I think a lot of people would agree, is the judging.
Following up on that, you wouldn't be opposed to like open scoring, like them showing us what they're scoring, how they're scoring at the time they're scoring it, like showing the viewers. Open scoring, I've always thought would be a good thing, for MMA in general, because that way it keeps judges on their toes as well, because they know the fans know what they're looking at. We've been watching this stuff we might not be judges, or we might not be professionals in the cage, but we've been fans long enough to recognize what we're seeing, especially based on the rules that they put out there. I don't know what your take is on open scoring.
But you see, with the only thing is, though, with open scoring, as much as it's like, oh, it's great that everyone can see what the scoring's like, but it doesn't mean that it will change their opinions, if you get what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, I mean, maybe it will then be a cause to bring more attention to the scoring. So then it might make like the commissions or whoever look at it more closely, maybe that will bring more attention. But in terms of actually doing anything about it, at the end of the day, the score is a score. The judge will score how he sees it, and it doesn't matter whether you show it in real time or at the end of the fight, the score is going to be the same score. So maybe I agree in the fact that if it brings more attention to what the judges are actually scoring these fights on and how they're doing it, maybe it will help to better scrutinize all of that. That's the way I see it could help. But you know, I just think it just, you know, everyone just needs to be on the same page, like universally. Okay, it goes by this. And the thing is, I think they are probably improving from what it seems like. It you know, it should be improving, but you know, everyone just needs to be on the same page. That's all it has to be, and hopefully we can get to that point at some point.
Hopefully, you know, this is a sport we all love, and just asking you that question there, it shows it's a testament to the type of person you are, to the character, and how much you don't even hold grudges or malice. Because when I asked that question, I thought you was going to ban oblique kicks. That was what and that just goes to show the type of person that you are, that you're not even holding anything towards that situation or that technique. Because a lot of ex fighters, even Bisping on the night when it happened, you know, they don't like that technique. They all say bad things about that technique, but I suppose it's all part of the rules that you engage in, the rules of engagement that you engage in. So both of you are aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys can get their arms broken, their ACLs torn with heel hooks, they can get kicked in the head, and you know, an oblique kick, it tears up the knee. But you know, I think the reason why they all said that is because it's going to end your career. Whose career is ended? Do you know what I mean? It's like this is where it comes back to. And you know, it's my job to defend it. This is another thing. They noticed an apparent move that I was making, so tactically they just did the right thing. So I can't be mad at it. Do you know what I mean? I was putting a lot of weight on the front foot for the jab, so they exposed that. So fair play to him. Like, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I can't really say anything. If you saw, he threw an oblique kick before that, and I stepped out the way.
Yeah, you stepped just before. Yeah, I saw that. That was a warning shot.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, and a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he could have just done what Adesanya did, step back and kick to the head. It's like, okay, well, the first time when I did not jab, I moved out the way. But the second time was when I jabbed, he just timed it. Listen, if the timing was a little bit more off, who knows? He might have got caught with the jab. So it's like, you know, those things, like I say, I just know that I'll be wise to it. But and then, you know what's mad? You see everyone start throwing loads of oblique kicks as if like, oh, this is going to be a career ending. This is going to be the fight ending shot. It's like timing. There's other things that come into play with these techniques. You know,
100%. I agree with you. Do you still work? You still work aside of fighting?
Yeah.
You do full-time work. What's that like? Like juggling all of that and still finding time to do what you do, especially, you know, bringing in personal training for self-defense classes as well, which we've been helping you promote on our page. And we see you, you know, doing these things. How do you juggle all of that together and still find time for your fight career?
You know, I think I'm able to, with privates. The thing is, you can choose when you want to work. You can choose how much you want to work. You can choose when you're doing it, what's going on, what times you're doing it. So I'll always make sure that I book the timings around when I'm training or before I'm training to give myself enough rest. And it's usually mornings that I train people. I don't train people in the evenings because most of the time I have to travel somewhere to train in the evening. So either in the middle of the day or like really early in the mornings. Always used to having to get up like really early, but it's part and parcel of the job, you know. And you know, like when speaking to my manager, you know, because I didn't know when I was going to get a fight, you know, I asked him, you know, should I work more hours, because I was holding back because I wanted to train properly twice a day, everything. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, you have to do what you have to do. You know, you got to make money. So it's like, okay, cool. If one client can only do an evening and I haven't got a fight booked, I'm still going to train, but okay, I won't train twice. I'll train once that day. I'll work on something that I need to work on, but I'll still make money. So it still works out, I think, as well. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself. Oh no, you have to train twice a day. You have to do this, like that. You know, at the end of the day, you can still improve your skill sets. You can still get better. You can still eat right. You can still do these things and still make money at the same time. You know, I think you have to be as well proactive on a lot of other things, like, you know, work on like your own businesses and stuff like that. It can be difficult sometimes because, you know, you're tired and stuff like that, and sometimes, you know, I have to take a nap to be able to make my training sessions, but that's okay. It's part and parcel of the job. You know, when it gets to the point where I don't have to work I don't have to do that anymore, and I can literally just earn enough money from fighting and sponsorships and whatnot, then that's absolutely great. And that, you know, that means I'll get even more out of myself for my athletic endeavors. But, you know, you hear guys like even Ryan Spann said, I haven't trained longer than 3 weeks for a fight. You know, he just fought on, and he's coming out with these insanity performances, you know, and it's true. A lot of fights, you know, like the Lee Chadwick fight, really, I only knew about it 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks before, you know, before the date. So it's like, I was already in shape. I was already training, you know. Some days, like I said, maybe I have to work a bit more. Some days I work a bit less. It's absolutely fine. But you do what you have to do. And then, okay, when the fight comes up, then maybe I'll prioritize my training a little bit more than taking the private. So you get what I'm saying? It all works hand in hand. You just have to find the correct balance. The thing I know is that you can always improve your skill sets. You don't have to be going freaking balls to the wall crazy, you know, every single day. You know, you can still improve by just thinking about these things, working on different techniques, you know, and at the end of the day, it's all that matters. It doesn't matter who you beat in the gym or what you do in the gym. Yeah? All that matters is what you do on the night. And as long as you get the performances, that's all that matters. So, you know, Yeah,
man. Thank you so much for that answer. And I want to thank you so much for the time you're giving us, man. I know we've just skimmed past the time there. So I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions. As a fighter that's been behind the scenes and fought for an organization like the UFC, what's it like for fighters that say aren't superstars yet, working in and around an organization like that? Do they rookie you up? Do they you know, take you under their wing? What's it like for fighters that say just signed and in and around? You're not a big name yet. You're not really that well known yet. You've not got that big following yet, but you're fighting in the UFC. What's that experience like?
The UFC is the cream of the crop for a reason. I'm not sure what it's like on the other promotions, but you know, you have access to all the facilities. Like when I went to Vegas, well, first off, UFC break ground everywhere. I mean, to be able to hold events on Fight Island, which I got to experience, where no other event was holding anything. They built up a tent within like a month or something, and then had the hotel sorted and the flights sorted, and like, it's absolutely amazing. They really take care of you. They drug test randomly all the time. I've been drug tested many times, and I think that's amazing to keep the sport clean. So they are the only promotion that's really 100% on top of all of that. They are linked in with the same drug testing people as the British Boxing Board of Control. So they use the same people, which means that everyone is regulated properly how it should be done, which is great. They take care of your fight week nutritional needs, so you don't have to worry about your weight cut. They sort it out for you. You tell them what weight and they sort you out. They do all your rehydration drinks. Everyone treats you with amazing respect. They tell you exactly where you need to go, and they give you all the numbers on WhatsApp that you need to go and message people to find out what you have to do. My management's also very good, Iridium, for sorting out my timetables that I had to do for it. It's just an amazing experience. You know, everything's very professional. Everything's to the T by the time. You know, you just have to be where you have to be, and then they do the rest. You know, as long as you're there for the time, they do the rest. They wrap your hands. You know, like. But in all fairness, it's very similar. Like, Cage Warriors have really stepped up their game. It's just on a much larger scale, basically, with the UFC, and with a couple of like a lot of additional extras. Like you go in and get your fight kit sorted, your bags. Like it's an amazing experience for someone who's never fought for them before. When you feel like you're really getting taken care of, like you feel like you are a professional athlete. You really feel like it. You feel like you're going to play for Arsenal or something. You're going to play for, you're going to Wimbledon and you're fighting for the Grand Slam. That's what you feel like when you go and fight for the UFC, and that's what I've always really appreciated.
Yeah, man, that's got to be an amazing feeling, man. It's got to be. It's got to be, and for people that are striving to get there, these are the things they need to hear to even, put their foot more on the gas, so they can get to that promised land, which is UFC for a lot of fighters. And thank you so much for that answer there. And finally, you made a reference there to Arsenal. Let's finish on that. You're an Arsenal fan, you follow Arsenal, albeit because of your busy schedule, you miss some fights, but you always try and stay in touch with them and see how they're doing. What have you made of what they're doing this season, where they are, how they finished last season with giving up the position to Tottenham of all teams?
The big rivals,
But what have you made of everything? What's been going on with them this season, and how happy have you been with the performances?
Well, from what I've been seeing, the last time I checked, they were top of the table. So I don't know if they still are, but
yeah, they still are.
They still are. So this goes back to when I first sort of started supporting football, which was, ages ago. I swear it must have been when I was maybe 11 or 10 or something, and back then it was like with Thierry Henry, it was like the glory days. They just won everything, like that was the times when Arsenal was like big and booming, and then they had like a massive drop for like a load of seasons, going like down in the table, and it's like everyone would be like on Manchester City and all these, and then like Chelsea or whatever, exactly, like all high on them, and and then Arsenal would be like down here, and then everyone like to be taking the piss, and when I tell them I support Arsenal, they would like make jokes and everything, and then now it's like, look at us, we're in the driver's seat now. Listen, it's been many years. We've been suffering for a few years,
haven't we?
Yeah, like I would always check. Like I say, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest. Like I'm like a massive supporter. Like as in like I follow every single. But I always check to make sure that my team's doing good. And then every time I'll check, I'm like, God damn it, Arsenal, what's wrong with you? And then when people ask you about it, and you're like I say, but yeah, it's good to see them finally achieve what they kind of deserve. Like they've had many years where they're trying to figure everything out, and now this season it seems very bright. They're like starting to do really well. They're top of the league. But I feel like when I was a lot younger and they were back on top, like now I feel like they're getting to that sort of momentum again, and hopefully they can keep it going, because the crazy thing about football is it can switch. Do you know what I mean? Like 1 year one may do good, then another, like Liverpool were doing good, and then it just changes all the time. So I'm very happy with how they're doing so far, and let's just hope they keep up for the whole season, right?
Yeah, man. Long may it continue, man. I'm so ecstatic with how they've been doing. Like the last 3 years, we finished eighth, and the last year we finished fifth. So to go from where we was before, albeit because I was a massive critic of the manager. I've never ever seen Arsenal finish as low as 8th twice. Albeit we won a trophy, the FA Cup, at the start of Arteta's reign, and then everything just went sideways. But starting to see what he's been working on, getting rid of all the bad apple. The Amazon documentary, I thought, really kind of changed my perception of the manager in terms of where he was trying to go with the club. And look, fair play to the people that gave him contract, the owners that stuck with him, and we're really starting to see the fruit of the labor now. And me, for one, as an Arsenal fan, and I'm sure you are as well, you're enjoying the football that you're seeing and the league position that we're currently in now. So Hopefully, you know, we're able to see through to the end of the season. Long may it continue.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, it's good times for Arsenal fans.
Yeah,
now,
no doubt. No doubt.
Good
And all the people that was, you know, they kind of jump ship. You know what I mean? Like back in, I remember everyone would ask me, "Oh, who do you support?" I support Arsenal, and then, you know, they've not been doing so well. It's like, and then they'd all jump onto the bandwagon of the top teams, and I'm like, no. I'm still a solid supporter, and now they've come through for us.
Don't be loyal, for real. Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, man, for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. You've been very, very incredible with your time. Please, is there anybody you want to thank, your gym, your coaches, any sponsors, and you know, what do you have coming up?
Yeah, so obviously, thank you very much for having me on, mate. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Really good chatting with you. There's like a massive stable of people that are constantly supporting me and helping me. Yeah, obviously, first off, you've got to thank my dad. Like, you know, the angel on my shoulders, always helping me throughout everything. You know, my family, like, you know, like my stepmom, my mum, my sister, Aria, who's actually my sister's boyfriend. He's one of my jiu-jitsu coaches. He's been an absolute amazing help at Pure Jiu-Jitsu. Hodger Grace's Academy, Prometheus with the wrestling, BST Academy, of course. Will Curry, actually a very good friend of mine, been helping me out always. That's another big player. I've got to thank some sponsors, actually. Azam Jaffrey, the Coachellas, they know who they are. Paul Burgess, he's been a massive supporter of mine for a very long time. Leanne, I've mentioned her already in this interview. Distinct Physiotherapy. She's done an amazing job. Fighter Shop UK, my boy Carolis, always helping me with like my gear, like in terms of my shirts and everything. Always help. Iridium Sports Agency, of course, Jason, Jacob, everyone part of Iridium Sports Agency, getting me my fights, getting me back on track, always helping me. You know, Danny Batten, Raymond, Lucas Klinger from BST. Mate, like I said, it's a massive group of people that are helping me to achieve what I need to do, and I'm very thankful and very grateful.
We thank them all
onwards and upwards.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of the show, people. This has been Modestas Bukauskas. You know, Big Muddy has been so generous to us. So thank you so much, man.
No worries, my brother.
Down the line, you know, we can bring you back on the channel to do more MMA content. Maybe even a watch party of fight companion on a UFC fight card. If you're open to that.
100%, that'll be absolutely amazing, mate. Like I said, I had a really good time. I really appreciate you, my friend. And yeah, man, we keep it going.
Man. Let's do it again, man. All right. Until next time, people. Hasta la vista. We out.
Take care, brother.
Hey, guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.